Hello again, YouTube. This is the Truth Man giving you the truth. I want to get these videos out the way. It is 5:45 in the morning. I ain't grifting, and I ain't. Hey, listen, I'm gonna talk about that today. I'm getting out here early so I can make my money. You know what I mean? Like, I can't see myself just sitting at home making YouTube videos, even when I get monetized. I just can't see it. You know. I'm going to be doing more things than that. I just can't see myself sitting around. You know what I mean? But that's me. And I'm going to talk about these things today. I'm going to talk about the manosphere today. I'm going to talk a little bit about a couple of things. I'm going to just get all these videos out the way probably in the next 30 minutes or so. So I can have, get to work out here, self-employed. You know what I mean? I'll work a job if people leave me alone and don't try to change me and just let me do the job. But people nowadays, which is kind of in line with what I'm talking about in this video, it's like people can't handle somebody being different from them. It's narcissism. It's the God game, which y'all know I'm going to be putting it out real soon. Like, they can't handle when people are different from them. Whether it's good or an evil difference, you're supposed to let people be different and judge them based on your personal interactions with them. If they involved in stuff that's not good for you to be involved in, then, but they show you respect, you just show them respect and you stay back, stay away. But on this one is entitled Things You Need to Know About the Hood/Street Life. People gonna always say, oh, you ain't really about that life, or you ain't this, you ain't that. I can honestly say that I've been around the streets. I've been around real hood people that do real hood things. And me, myself, for a short period of my dumb life, I was one of them. You know what I mean? But I want to show you some things, and I want to especially talk to you youth. And the youth of Milwaukee, they already know what I think about this. Excuse me. They already know what I think about this, so it'll just be like things me and them already talked about. You got to realize all hood people ain't going to like you, regardless of who you are. Especially the ones that like doing those things and you trying to tell them not to. But I want to call this 7 things you need to know about the hood/street life. Because sometimes youngsters don't know. Sometimes some of y'all older people don't know. You have to control it. You have to control it or it'll control you. You see what I'm saying? So number 1, you ain't going to run with the clique forever. You ain't going to run with the clique forever. Sometimes, here's what happens. When back in the 90s, 95, 96, even during my college days, like I still came home and was running with my guys. I grew up on Street 19th and Hampton. People here know about 19th and Hampton. And basically, I'm going to talk about this today, but I'm not going to talk about this all the time because I'm not proud of it. Like, I'll mention it in passing, like certain situations. And when I talk to my son, stuff like that. But I'm not proud of this stuff, man. So we created on our block a clique. Like, some people just still into that. We ain't gonna even say, I don't even gotta say the name of it. People here know. In the 4800 block of Hampton, here in Milwaukee, a clique was formed probably somewhere around 1995, 95, somewhere in there. And there's reasons behind it. I'm going to give you a history lesson. And hopefully wannabes won't run with this. So what was happening back then was in our neighborhood, you had guys that grew up together that knew that this guy was in this gang, this guy was in this gang, rival gangs. So we had a pool called Lincoln Pool. I think it's still open. I'm pretty sure it's still open. And other places that people in Milwaukee frequent. What was happening was guys were getting into it with the rival gang, but their guys they grew up with were helping them. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of people say, oh, them dudes on 19th, they flake and they on blah, 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 blah. That's what was going on. So one particular time, someone, we're just going to say someone, there's no need to brag, made a suggestion. Man, bleep these niggas, such. We need to rep the block because of such and such, right? And everybody agreed. Yeah, man, that is how it will be happening. Instances that happened was brought up that day. And so everybody agreed, yeah, man, that's a good idea. So one particular guy, I'm not going to say his name, one of my good friends back in those days, I always consider them dudes my guys, even fallouts, whatever, you always, people you grew up with, if you don't have a direct conflict with them, you should always, in your heart at least, consider them your friends. So one of them in particular, we give him credit for creating it because he made it official when he tagged it. Somebody else said this is what it should be called. Bleep, bleep, bleep. Because when you think about it, you have bleeps, you have bleeps, and you have bleeps. And everybody was laughing, but it became official. It became an official clique. And it's not that we was going around starting stuff. Then the guys on the other side, who we grew up with them too, they was in it too. They can't start making to that, yeah, man, I see we came up, they say we came up with this. I know this is going long, but I got to tell you about this before I get into these. So everybody was in on that from 18th Street up to as far as 25th Street. You had some dudes that wasn't claiming that. You had other dudes that was right there in the mix. And it went pretty good, man. Didn't nobody come from no other cities trying to take over. I used to see them riding through there. Who is this dude? We used to be like, who is dude? But they never tried to take over. Out-of-state plates. They never tried to take over back then. They tried, a couple guys in particular, I'm not going to even put their names out there, because they know too. They were here back in those days. And they took over other areas, but they didn't come over there. And I think it might have been because it was just too many people to beat. They didn't know who was who. Because again, you had the guys on the other side of the street. We grew up with them too. They used to be out there with us too. Then you even had guys as far as Long Island Drive. We considered them part of our hood as well. In fact, one in particular, he was with us all the way. Like he created, we was something else, which I'm definitely not going to say because the little wannabes, that's too much history for them. Before that, but me, here's where I stood on that. Back in them days, I was young, like 15, 16. Dude, those was my guys, but I wasn't trying to get in no trouble. I just wanted to play my sports. I had a dream to go to the NFL. So it was mainly during, I said, okay, I'm going to graduate first. I told somebody like this, I'm going to graduate first. Then I might start doing a little more after I graduate. That's what I told somebody. And unfortunately, that's how it worked. Like right before graduation, I started getting a little more grimy. Like I would go to school, be all quiet and stuff. Because that was always part of the persona. That's how you stayed out of trouble. I would go to school. I guarantee you the people at my school didn't know nothing I was doing back in those days. Only way they knew is they sometimes saw me hanging with some of my guys at school. And my other guys, they didn't care. They was full-fledged back in them days. Me, I always was guarded from it. Like just trying to stay out of trouble. But like right before graduation, I started getting a little more grimy. I ain't gonna get into details because I know you got agents on here. But I finished high school. I would have went to college right away, but you know, I had a bad score on the ACT. I was rushing. So I was gonna be what's called Prop 48. I didn't want to do that, so I said I'm just gonna sit out a year and I'm gonna take the test again, so on and so forth. And that's when I took the test again. I ended up going to Jackson State. But that mentality was still there. It was still there. So we was in college. Like I was like the ringleader on some stuff. And we was in college. People was trying to gangbang and stuff in college, man. But what I liked about college is it was a fair mix of good kids. And that was like cut for me in those days, that was very influential. Because I never forgot that. Like even when I was back in the hood, I never forgot that. So when the time came, you know, and I'd start, things happen with sports. You know, I don't want to make the story too long. Things happen with sports. Didn't work out. I ended up back here. When I came back, all in. I was all into that lifestyle, like all into it, like all of that, trying not to fight, trying not to shoot, trying not to get in trouble. I didn't care. I didn't care. And I had a hit list for some people that when we were younger was trying to take advantage because I didn't get my growth spurt. So I had a little list, like if dudes say something, you know, and a lot of those people that were bothering us, when we start rising up with that stuff, they didn't come around. Or that's how I know I'm up early. Hold on one second. They didn't come around. So we starting to rise in the city. People starting to know about us. We here, we there. Things was happening. We was getting cool with other dudes, other gang, right? Like it was creating like, it was never fully peaceful. Guys was beefing. But in the 90s, like sometimes associations was making situations laid back. Like we all could be at the lake and everybody would be at the lake, you know, just trying to get numbers and stuff like that. So they was forgetting about the little rivalries and stuff that was going on in this area because of cliques that were forming. And ours was one of the first ones. But in every clique, you have, what we call today ops. You got dudes that'll try to come on here because they don't like me and discredit everything I say. But people know the truth. And this is truth, man, telling the truth. What I'm telling you right now is 100% truth. So I can tell you firsthand what I'm talking about with this list. I sat and thought about this, and I've been thinking about it, and now we're going to get into this because too many people dying, man, trying to live this life. And people who hate black people, and some people who, Latinos too, some people don't like them. They sitting back and they practically clapping at all this rivalries that's going on. When we start to get older, we're supposed to get more mature. We're supposed to reason more, you see. I've had people tell me, man, you from 19th, man, how you voting for Trump? Who else I'm going to vote for based on what I believe in? Which is homeschool, right to bear arms, stuff like that. See, I was doing all this stuff. I ain't never been to jail, y'all. I was calling myself Teflon Dave. So, and by the way, that brings me to another point that really could have been on this list. Everybody has not been to jail that acts like this. Respect everybody and don't underestimate anybody. Because if you think that's the standard, let me tell you, I done worked in the jails. I don't have any criminal record. So I was working in there and I knew some of their parents. They was like, yeah, man, such and such. Yeah, man. How he working there? Many times. I was working there because I ain't never been to jail. Every time they had me on the ground, pat down, police contact, everything. Never been to jail. Never. So let's get into this list because we had 17 minutes. 7 things you need to know about the hood/street life. Just because you haven't been to jail and just because a person has been to college. Some of those NBA players are known gang members, known ex-gang members. Some of them still are gang members. Everybody ain't down and out. Y'all got to understand that. Number one, like I said, you ain't going to run with the clique forever. And you shouldn't run with the clique forever. If they still out there, unless you got a desire to go to prison or to get killed in these streets, you ain't going to run with the clique forever. Or unless you change and they change too, it's possible. So that's the first thing you need to know. Number 2, you ain't going to keep living in a life or desiring that life. It only leads... Oh, no. I'm reading that wrong. Number 2. Let's start over with number 2. If you keep living the life or desiring that life, it only leads to prison and death. Man, that's how I know I'm out here. It only leads to prison and death. People think that they invincible. Nobody's invincible. I had a saying I used to say, anybody could get got. So that's, and you reap what you sow. Because don't think you're going to get all these people and ain't nobody going to get you. It has to happen that way. That's the way the devil wants it to happen. The devil will gaslight you, make you think that you invincible. And then, bang, somebody done got you. You right down there with her. Number 3, eventually the police gonna get you. They got Ring doorbells. They got technology like there hasn't been Some of us out, some of us not, where they can see you. So eventually they're going to get you. Somebody always watching. They're going to get you. The police going to get you eventually. Me personally, here's what happened. I'm not going into full details, but let's just say I was involved in something and they were planning to take me down. And I knew they was coming for me. I knew they was coming for me. The only reason why they didn't is because I stopped. And even after I stopped, they were still watching me. I know they were because I used to see them for at least another 5-6 months. So they're going to eventually get you. They would have got me. Number 4, people who shoot and kill over small stuff are secretly soft. And I know this for a fact because I've seen it firsthand. Like some dudes that were real strong with the pistol, they come in the jails and they be getting beat on. Can't even fight. Or other ones will try to fight people they knew they could beat. And some of them could fight. I'm gonna be honest, but this is how it was. Number 5, you need to understand this: wannabes are more dangerous. Keep on trying to. Oh man, you ain't. Keep on underestimating people. You should never underestimate people. I knew a guy, a little guy, real small, was getting beat up, everything. It was 2 of them. One of them in particular, he got beat up a couple times. But I told somebody the last time I was working there, I said, he got a different look in his eyes. And he was bigger. So they'll try to judge him by how he was when he was timid, stuff like that. And now they said the dude played a Swiss cheese song and shot some guys up. And I noticed he was different last time he came in there. I'm telling you. Like I know the difference because I was dealing with this guy for like at least 3 years. And I told somebody he got a different look in his eye. They better watch out for him. And he was hanging with one of the most notorious ones. So, wannabes are more dangerous. Another guy, the one I was mentioning at first, he told me, I want to see what it's like to kill somebody. I don't care about going to prison. He said, I want to go to prison. I want to see what that's like too. I said, this dude dangerous, man. And so, I don't know. One of the guys that beat him up just recently was murdered. I mean, I don't know. You know, it's just, I just hate to see these young dudes going out like this, man. That's why I'm making this video. Number 6, friends become foes very often, so seek better things. Y'all some of these people be letting these, you think because you knew them since K5, that everything they want you to do, you should just do it. What about your life? What about your future? They sometimes become foes. I've seen that too. Like I've seen kids, like when I was working at the detention center, they used to be cool. And I'd be like, man, why you don't be around dude like, man, I don't F with dude no more. he did this. Like, wow. Last but not least, the dudes that I know were really in the streets in the 90s, and some that still are, they don't broadcast it. I ain't gotta even put their names out. I know they was balling in these streets. I know some of them still balling in the street. I know a lot of people here, y'all. They don't broadcast it. They rarely even post on Facebook. They don't even post on Facebook. Like, it's at least, let me see, at least 5 people I'm thinking of. They rarely post on Facebook. They don't be broadcasting this stuff. They say nothing about it on social media. That's a new dude thing. I call them new dudes. New dudes, young. Like, now they broadcast that hood stuff. Like it's something to be desired. And they make me wonder, like, who they working for. Because most of the real people in the hoods have a real strong desire to get out of the hood. You know, it's only the ones that don't want to be called a soft or Uncle Tom or this, that they still be trying. Like me, I rarely ever go in my old neighborhood. And I got love for I learned a lot of what I know as a man right in that area, them schools, that area. But I just stay away. I believe in staying away. I believe that there's better things out here than hood life. I believe that if possible, which is probably not, especially amongst black people can be very hateful, jealous, and dangerous towards one another. But if it were possible, I believe that would be the goal, to clean up the hood, to make opportunities for kids where they could be safe and they could enjoy themselves. So I think these were 7 things you need to know. Like, the real ones don't broadcast. They don't broadcast. And here's honorable mention. All them drugs, I've seen dudes, I'm telling you, I ain't got to name names. I've seen dudes die from stuff they was doing back then. Like, it enlarged their heart sometimes. And so some guys throughout this Milwaukee be dying from heart because they were, some of them were doing a certain particular drug that starts with a P, where they lace weed. And others they was just snorting too much and enlarged their heart. It made their heart go bad. Now, everybody that have a heart attack is not because of that. Sometimes it could just be other reasons. But I've seen some hood cats die from the drugs they was doing. And then here's another thing. I ain't gonna name the gang, but here's what happened. Like, stop thinking you know everybody somebody knows. When I was at my job, right, my coworkers were more of a hindrance than anybody. Like, I'm trying to reach these dudes. They been two-faced it, trying to downplay it. And then it was the white ones too that ain't never been in the hood. Silver spoon. Trying to talk like they know everything that's going on. So we was talking about one particular gang that people thought I was in it. I know so many of them. So this parent, he don't know them. I grew up with them. How you know who I know? And how you know who other people know? See, that's what's wrong with the hood, too. People be trying to act like it's to be desired. And then here's the kicker. A lot of the guys in that particular gang, some of them are strung out on drugs now. Some of them won't work, living off women. Oh, I thought I didn't know any of them. A couple of them got businesses doing good. Got bikes, boats, money. But a lot of them, they ain't doing nothing. They ain't doing nothing. But this person, he don't know. I grew up with them. Get out of here, man. I bet you I could go to the ones that I know and ask them, do they know this person? And they'd be like, nah. But it's not important. Because what's important to me is getting in a clean, quiet, safe, high-income area. Not what's going on in the hood. Only thing I want for the hood is for them to make it better, all the hoods in the United States, better and safer for the kids. Other than that, I ain't got nothing to prove, and I don't desire. Where they know you from? Smashing you? I mean, people just be talking, man. People be talking. And matter of fact, let's go here. No hood is invincible. I think that's being proved every day. They go back and forth. Like a lot of people go back and forth. Some of them die. Some of them die. You see what I'm saying? If they were invincible, then they would have no losses. But this particular person, I know she ain't getting this info from her boyfriend. I just know that because I know what hood he's from, and he's not invincible. I could say something about him. I actually like the dude. I could say something about him, but then people that might see this will know who I'm talking about. It's not even important like that, because that's almost like creating problems. But his hood ain't invincible either. I mean, so I know, dude. I ain't gonna, because people will know who I'm talking about. But that's pretty much it on that. The truth man has not always been a prophet. So, but a lot of times them be the people the Most High can use. If you are a churchy thinking your church is the way to go, he can't always use that person, because that person ain't open-minded enough for him to pour into him. They ain't gonna want to disappoint their granddaddy. So that's why he sometimes use people that don't look the part, like me. Look at my beard. The channel is the No Matrix. No, especially having kids and trying to live this life. Do you want your kids to grow up without you? No simping. All subjects channel. Thank you to my new subscribers. Thank you to my regulars who always talk to me in the comments. It's fun responding to the comments. Sometimes them grifters don't respond to any of their comments. But anyway, keep tuning in for more videos.